Talk for a moment here today on our Facebook about a report I have coming up tonight at 6. Not long ago, I had the pleasure of meeting a family, Bill and Christie Bramwell. They invited me into their home. They were so gracious and sharing a story with me that I think is very important for parents of young men playing football and parents of children playing any type of contact sport, whether it's hockey or lacrosse or wrestling or soccer, male or female, to watch tonight's story. Their son, over a course of a 10-year career, as you're hearing tonight's piece, ended up being diagnosed with something called chronic traumatic encephalopathy. It is called CTE more commonly, and it had been believed up until recently that disease was only affecting football players and other contact sport athletes who had played for a long period of time and had long retired from either their collegiate or professional careers. Well, as you're hearing tonight's story with Bill and Christie, that thought has been turned around due to research at Boston University, and their son, Wyatt, was one of the seminal people studied in that. Now, Wyatt, 18 years old, was an exceptional young man, as you'll learn tonight, in every way you could imagine. He was a great-looking kid. He was incredibly smart. He was an honor society student. He was straight A's, going on to study engineering at the University of Missouri. But where he stood out really since the time he was young was on the football field. And like so many of us, you know, football really is our national pastime, due respect to baseball, but it's football that so many of our communities across this country are drawn to, and the Bramwells were no different. Wyatt was an outstanding player in Missouri, just outside of the Kansas City area, and had a decorated high school career. And then tragedy would strike the Bramwells. Let's hear some from them in the interview. This is part of my extended interview with Bill and Christie. Let's take a listen.
It'll be 3rd down and 11.
A lot of our life was around football. He loved the sport.
Time goes middle, has Bramwell wide open. He'll dash to the goal line. He is in.
With Wyatt, he was so good that it was a commitment to his future. He was looking at playing college football.
Throwing, Bramwell with the catch. Bramwell with the hat trick. 3 touchdown catches tonight for Wyatt Bramwell, the senior Wyatt.
He was fun to watch. When I think about it, it just makes me smile.
So much of Wyatt's personality was that sport, and so much of that sport was Wyatt.
But he had such a humble heart. You could hug him and you would just feel purity. I was always more worried about he was going to get tackled wrong and get paralyzed. Honestly, that was my biggest fear, is that he was going to have some spinal issue. Never has had.
If we had ever saw any kind of cognitive decline in Wyatt, it'd have been, we're done. It never showed up. But somehow there was a switch where it just, bad decisions started getting made one after the other.
He was argumentative. He voiced out. He would yell, which just wasn't like Wyatt.
With Wyatt, there was this 50, 60 days of just reckless behaviors, and you're thinking, okay, am I dealing with this 18-year-old kid that's transitioning from high school headed to college? You know, what hormones are at play here?
Hello. So what this is me explaining what's wrong with me. I've been depressed for a long time. My head is pretty messed up and damaged. I took a lot of hits through football.
So that's part of the discussion you'll see tonight with Bill and Christie, and as you saw there towards the end, that's their son Wyatt, a video he recorded for his parents. Now, what's so important about this story tonight that you're here with Bill and Christie is they lost their son, Wyatt, tragically, and afterwards he was diagnosed with CTE, this disease that mimics Alzheimer's, can only be diagnosed after death through an autopsy. And when Bill and Christie first invited me into their home, we sat on their couch and we spoke for, it was close to 5 hours on a Friday night. We shared stories of us all three having lived in the Kansas City area for a long time. We talked about our love of football. The family is still very much a football family. And we talked about being parents and the role parents play in our children's life. And what happened to Wyatt was nothing short of shocking. and tragic for the Bramwells, but they want to share their story tonight because now, 4 years after they lost their son, they're looking back and seeing some signs of CTE in their son and his behavior that they might have missed. As you're hearing tonight's story, it happened almost instantly, the changes. But why it's 18? You know, those of us who have teenage kids or watch teenage kids grow up, you know there's things at play, particularly in their senior season. They're getting ready to go off to college. Are they dealing with hormones, personality changes? And it's things they might not have noticed at the time, possibly being something dealing with cognitive issues, but they look back now and they want to share their story with other parents so they can see signs, hopefully. Things at least just to speak to their young athletes about, especially once their seasons are over. So I hope folks tune into this to meet this family through our story, to get to know their son, who again, I can't speak of how much love there was for this family, for this young man. When you walk into their home, it's adorned with beautiful family photographs of them and their children. And I got to tell you, a beautiful collage of black and white photos on their living room wall, and your attention is immediately drawn to a black and white portrait of Wyatt and the way his parents speak of him. But the courage that it takes for a family who have lost a son or any child to share their story, to allow someone into their home, it takes a lot of courage. And their pain is clear, but their hope and their desire that their son leaves a legacy, that possibly in sharing his story, they can help other families. And so I hope folks tune in tonight. I've been here in Nashville now for about a year. It's interesting because the Bramwells and I both lived in the Kansas City area at the same time. We never met. It took us all moving to Tennessee to become acquainted. But to have the honor to come into their home and for all the stories that I've done over the course of now, I think going on to a 19-year career, this is one that touched me deeply. I hope you will tune in. I hope parents with kids playing especially football, but any contact sport, again, this is an issue with soccer. It's part of the reason why a lot of youth soccer groups don't allow children to head the ball until they're much older. It's an issue in wrestling. It's an issue in hockey, and it's certainly an issue in football. And so tonight at 6, my story will air. Then there's going to be a companion piece on the web. You can see the video clip there that I played with the extended interview with the Bramwells will be a part of that story. So you can hear more of our conversation than just the story that airs at 6. And I hope you'll see this story. And if friends and family who also have children playing contact sports, if they're not able to tune in, I hope you share it with them. So thank you for giving me some of your time this afternoon on Facebook. I hope you tune in tonight at the WSMV4 News at 6 and watch our report. For now, I'm investigative reporter Stacey Cameron. Thanks so much for tuning in.